folks. Welcome in. I'm so happy to see you all, to sit with you today. I feel blessed to be with you all. I see the introductions rolling in the chat. Please feel free to continue that. Today we are going to do our first little experimental development of a Mother Harriet grounding liberation practice. So this will develop over time, over weeks, as we all kind of co-create the space together. So for the beginning, I'll just bring in my dreamings of this space, and we can kind of form them together as we go throughout the weeks. Today we'll start out with just a little opening bell breaths, little breath work, getting into our body, getting into kind of our space, and kind of feeling how we're arriving today. And then we'll go into a kind of deeper breathing exercise called Okinaga, which means long breath in Japanese. And we'll start with a short version of that today, and hopefully week by week we can lengthen our breaths. But the idea today and every day, kind of with the practices I'm offering, is that with this idea of Harriet Tubman, of somebody who embodies radical compassion, somebody who was able to know deeply their own freedom while being born into enslavement. To know that she was free and to be able to free herself, and then to have that kind of conviction and compassion to go back and free others, that kind of revolutionary communal interconnectedness, whatever you need to foster. I don't have that yet, but I'm reaching at whatever she had inside of her. And as abolitionist myself, and as somebody who's like a descendant from enslaved people, or just currently working in the project of liberation with my community, I am hoping to really dive into that steadfastness, that revolution, that kind of like fire that burns in our bellies, that can fuel and warm us at the same time. And so we'll get into our bodies, we'll kind of expand our limitations, hopefully, by exploring the lengths of our breath, and then we'll do a main mantra practice that I'll explain as we do it, where we can chant together, offer a little black spiritual singing at the end, and then just reflect. So it'll be about 40 minutes of practice in total today, and we'll see how that goes, and just move on from there as we go. But again, my name's Eli, if I didn't say that already. I also go by Rin, both are perfect. I use they, she, or he pronouns, and I'm coming to you from Odawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi land, the nation of the Three Fires Council land in Chicago. And as I'm held by this land, I'll invite y'all to just take a second to clear your space, either mentally, physically. Get settled into wherever you sit or lay down. Perhaps you'll take a deep breath in and out. And all the offerings today, everything I say will be opt-in, opt-out. If you need to take a break, if you need to move, leave and come back, please feel free to follow that. A deep agency within you. My dryer's done. A deep agency within you that really informs, okay, what are these needs arising? How can I attend to them? If there was a goal, that'd be the only one today, rather than following any rules or practices specifically. As we open up today, we'll do some breaths together. I'll ring the high bell for our inhales and the low bell for our exhales. We'll just ease into a body scan, opening our breath like this and then checking in with the body before getting into our core practice. So if everybody would like to take a deep clearing breath in, let all your breath out. Inhale. Exhale. your breathing return to normal, as you simply take a moment to feel into your body, perhaps bringing your awareness down into the soles of your feet. You might gently wiggle the toes or stretch the ankles before inviting a little stillness, a little rest into the feet, relaxing them. We might feel the weight of our clothes against us, the temperature of the air around us. Any taste or sensations lingering on the tongue. And we can gently move our awareness into the calves and shins, perhaps releasing any tension that feels safe to release today. Practicing a little letting go. You might notice the sensations in the knees, any spaciousness or ease, any tension or discomfort. Just starting to take note of our sensations, noting that pain can be an indicator of where we direct our care. Not judging ourselves for how we arise, but simply noticing and tending. We might bring our awareness up into the thighs, releasing any clenching in the inner thighs, perhaps feeling the backs of your thighs ground down into the surface below you. Notice your body slowly sinking into your spot, the earth rising up to hold you. Not just the cushion, the floor, the bed, but the soil deep bound beneath you. Alive and reaching towards you to give you a spot to rest, to explore today. As we continue breathing in and out with the land, we might bring our awareness up into the glutes and hips, shifting as we need to let the base of the spine root down into your pelvis, and let your lower half become an anchor, gently grounding you into your spot. As we move our awareness up the body, we might notice the lower belly and back. As we breathe in, we can feel the skin on our stomach stretch, taking up space. And on the exhales, we might find a gentle softening in the low back, a little release. Continue raising our awareness into the chest and upper back. Perhaps noticing the breath filling the lungs in each direction, not just up and out, but balloon-like, filling the rib cage gently on the exhales, allowing the whole torso a little softening. perhaps if we have the access, we take a moment to notice our heartbeat. And even if it doesn't present itself to us, we can have the deep knowing that there are rivers of blood and air running through us right now, filling, rejuvenating our organs, pumping through our heart as we move our awareness up into the neck and shoulders. Perhaps noticing in stillness or bringing a little motion, a few shoulder or neck rolls. Perhaps even reaching up to gently massage the tops of the neck. Really listening to whatever your body is asking. Again, what do I need right now? What wisdom is already in my bones, asking for me to hear it? What sort of ancestral sighs are waiting to be reborn and re-released in my body right now? As I let my arms feel free, feel loose, feel heavy perhaps. I might notice a little warmth in the palms. The fingers might slowly relax as if floating in water, meeting some surface of my body, of a blanket of the earth. And as we continue to breathe, we scan up into the jaw, releasing any tension, even again, gently massaging. All care is open to us right now. Releasing any tension in the forehead, perhaps feeling the top of the head, the back of the scalp, offering the warmth of our hands into the fingertips, into the scalp again. And as we sit with this awareness, continuing to take care of ourselves, we'll move into our main breathwork practice before our vocal practice. As I said before, today we are inviting in the spirit of Harriet Tubman, which to me really means inviting in the spirit of impossibility. Shattering what that means to me and really diving into going beyond what I think is possible. In our mantra practice, we'll be working with that phrase, beyond, going beyond, whatever we think is possible, to the liberation we really deserve, cultivating that together. And so for our breath, for our bodies to practice this, right, we can practice with our body, speech, or mind, and other or combinations, but really to integrate all three, today we'll do a practice called Okinaga. So we'll start by doing inhales and exhales that slowly lengthen. We'll do 5 seconds together, inhaling for 5, exhaling for 5, for a few rounds. Then we'll do 10 seconds, then 15 seconds. You won't have to count. I'll lead everything just by simply hitting a drum beat for switching for inhale and exhale. A few tips for this exercise. We're starting with the shortest amount of time, but this can expand. The longest I've ever done it is 1 minute. Inhaling for 1 minute, exhaling for 1 minute. And there's something, and that took like a full year of practice. That's not just a normal length of time to be inhaling. So, no pressure. 5 seconds is still a plenty long time for to breathe. But there's something that happens at that. the top of your deepest inhales, the top of your deepest, or the bottom of your deepest exhales, when you breathe out so long that you don't know if you're going to be able to breathe in again. But then you foster that trust that yes, that next breath is coming, right? Or when we breathe in so long that we feel too tight, we feel overwhelmed, we feel, how could I intake any more, right? And then we find a way to relax our container around that too full breath, and a little more seeps in before, again, that guaranteed release eventually comes. That transformation of our breath keeps happening and happening and happening. And so today we'll start with the kind of shorter version, and we'll work our way up throughout the year, hopefully, however we're feeling. The invitation is to breathe in through the nose, imagining you're just opening up the back of your nostrils and allowing breath to float in without as much tension as possible. For the 5-second breath, it'll feel kind of like a normal deep breath. We'll just go in through the nose, out through the mouth. We'll imagine again, opening the back of our throat, and like you hear a little ah sound. Slowly letting the breath out again. And when you hear a series of drum beats, that'll be our final exhale, where we all exhale, then join in our breath again together. So we'll take a deep clearing breath, breathing in, letting it out. Inhale. Exhale. In. Out. In. Out. 10 seconds. In. Slowly out. In, resisting that urge to gasp, trusting the breath will come. Fifteen seconds in. Out. In, taking reset breaths if we need to. Out. Relax the shoulders, the chest, around the lungs. Last deep breath in. Let it all go. Let your breathing return to normal. Take a moment to stretch if you need to. I'll copy and paste into the chat our mantra practice. It's also in the doc that I shared if you prefer to look at it that way. The mantra will be starting to work with first throughout at least this first couple months will be the mantra from the Heart Sutra. It's a really popular sutra talking about form, emptiness, and really my understanding, it's one that's a favorite of mine to work with, and my understanding of it is like shattering every single limitation we think we have. This body, this world, this social context, this capitalist system, all of these things that feel like trappings are both form and both empty, right? And they're more than that and just that itself. We can pick apart the kind of absoluteness and the kind of exactness that is so easy to fall into. And this mantra, gate gate paragate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha, one translation is gone, gone beyond, gone completely beyond, awakening, so be it. And so, in thinking of abolitionist spirit and thinking of like channeling Mother Harriet in this practice, I want to invite us to try to go beyond right now. As we go beyond the limits of our breath and our practice, as we go beyond the limits of the care we think we deserve, as we redevelop communities that are truly loving, today in our mantra practice we can practice going beyond even what we think liberation is, right? My deepest dreams of liberation are expansive and true, and still I know they're not even all that it will be, right? I haven't gotten there. It's still going to be even more than that. And so, in diving into like, just that deep community of like, what does it take to be, if we could be students of something right now, I am a student of the Underground Railroad. And what does it take to learn to be a conductor of, that's what they called themselves, that's what Harriet was, right? She was a conductor on the Underground Railroad. She was not just a physical conductor of people to liberation, escaping their circumstance, but she was a spiritual, a metaphysical, embodiment of energy conduction, right? Of putting your freedom at the forefront and letting that shine out for all to see so that they can also put their freedom at the forefront and we can realize how the same it is. And so today that's kind of the spirit of this mantra we'll go through. It'll be kind of a melody, so I'll sing it first through and then one more copy and paste for you. If you've been to the Medicine Buddha sit, we're kind of formatting this mantra practice after that. So we'll do the mantra opening, and then in the middle we'll have just a little collective prayer instead of individual prayers that we can recite together that I will put in the chat as well. And then we'll end with another round of the mantra practice before closing out with our spiritual. So those will be our central prayers that we work with every single week. Okay, everyone, take a nice deep breath in and out. Come back to your spot, to your seat, your breath, whatever's arising and falling, sustaining in this moment. Gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhi swaha. 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 Take a second to hear the bells, feel the chant, those vibrations inside of you. Let us be conductors of our voice. Being aware of the sound waves as physical, right? Not just things we hear, but literal physical waves that travel through us, get changed within us. They meet the water in our system, they slow down, and they keep traveling beyond us, right? Perhaps right now, if it feels safe, we can open up this space to our ancestors, to all those who hold lineage before us, hold communal space, hold us and our liberation dear. We can allow those voices to join us, not just human voices, non-human voices, the sounds of the wind, the chimes of rocks falling against each other, the drumbeat deep inside of caves, right? All that power is in our bodies. The blood of our ancestors runs through the earth, through us, through the air again. You might join me in Anjali Mudra and Gasho with palms together, with palms at the heart, as we recite our main prayers. I will say them and you can repeat after me. Hopefully, as we gain an in-person space and be hybrid, we'll hear the chorus of all of our voices together. We inhale and exhale. May all beings be free. May those suffering experience liberation. May we hold each other through revolution. May we abolish everything that is not love. May we rebirth a free world. And as we hold that idea of rebirth within us, we recognize this moment giving birth to itself over and over again, a new chance to remember our freedom. We'll move into one more round of the mantra. A little bit slower, perhaps even softer, just letting it flow through us. Gate, gate, paragati, parasamgati, bodhisvaha. 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 gone beyond, gone completely beyond, awakening. So be it. Keeping this vibration in our bodies, we'll do our closing practice. I've been offering black spirituals, Negro spirituals, African American hymns, whatever you want to call them, deep within my lineage, deep within my practice these few months. It's been really coming to fruition in community, and I hope to bring that here as well. On a personal note, this is a space for, deep loving is deep grieving, right? They're extremely linked. We can't really get into one without getting into the other. And in thinking of grieving together, there's a spiritual called We Shall Not Be Moved. And there's a bunch of different versions. There's longer versions, but we're just taking the core stanza for it that we'll sing together a few times through. And the idea here in calling on Mother Harriet is thinking of what it takes to be both unmovable and radically moving forward at the same time, right? She did not stop going. The Fugitive Slave Act passed, she did not stop going. Where it became more dangerous for her to be free, thank you, Madeline, I see you taking part. The different civil war, the wars, the different rebellions happening, she didn't let anything hold her back from her vision of freedom, and yet there was this unmovable conviction that fueled her, right? And that's what I hope to unearth with everybody. And so, one thing I like to think about, her final words were, I go to prepare a place for you. Those were her last words on this earth, and I don't know, it makes me kind of emotional every time I think of it, to think of being someone displaced, being someone, really anyone right now is displaced. Not saying I'm regarding, our very real social constructs and the disparity between that displacement, but in this world, we're being trained to displace ourselves from sitting with ourselves, right? Everything about capitalism, everything about industry is taking us out of our body, out of our spirit, out of our just like innate wisdom and the things we know to be true. And so for me, I've been trying to discover, what's that place she prepared for me? How do I, as somebody moving towards that place, as somebody with ancestors that have prepared a place for me, and with, unborn ancestors that will be preparing a place for me again, when I'm back, when I'm a tree again, whatever, as a part of this universe preparing itself to come home, I hope to find the spirit that it takes to move towards wherever she's prepared, and to know that I deserve to be there, right? To know that is a place for me. I deserve to be there. My liberation is something I can trust and believe in. That's something I've had a hard time with, I think, over the past maybe decade or so of my practice. Been practicing for, 25 years or so. I'm 29. And, maybe 20 years. And this past 10 years has been really like, do I deserve it? Do I deserve these tools that have been given to me? Can I actually use them for myself, not just give them away, Is giving them away even real? Do they always move through me? And so that's the kind of spirit for this last closing. Spiritual. So the lyrics are in the chat. They are also in the Google Doc. And we'll just go nice and slow through it a few times. You can join along with me. You can hum along. You can just listen. Whatever feels good in your soul. Just knowing these are words that were made out of work songs, that were made out of people who couldn't stop moving and need to find out how to be unmovable. They couldn't get out of the fields while figuring out how to escape from them. They had to do it all at the same time. And so, if we can invoke that Vajrayana spirit, right, that like great dissolution and that tantric spirit of eating it all, maybe we can find that place. So, let's Take one more deep collective breath in and out. I'm going to offer a little ancestor incense to the fire before we begin. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We might take a second to just come back to the room. Feel your body, the space around you. Notice if you need water, if you need to move. And that's our practice for today. I want to thank all of you so much for joining me for this first iteration. I'm so excited to see how this transforms, how this moves, how this grows with everybody, and I just so dearly appreciate this opportunity to, for me personally, really just connect with liberation outside of institution, to really move into what does abolition look like when it frees my heart, you know? What does it not just look like? I know how it looks like when I'm protesting. I know how it looks like when I'm, caring for my friends. I know how it looks like when I'm cared for. Those are kind of easier for me to spot. But what does it look like in the deep silence of my loneliest breath? What is it like to know I am free then? And so, hopefully we can move towards that together. I'm going to stop the recording real quick.